Hi, this is Samir Desai, Seagull Advertising. I'm happy to welcome you back to this episode of Dreamers to Doers. Dreamers to Doers is not a business conversation. It's a coffee conversation with entrepreneurs and founders to understand their ideation, how they set up their business, the challenges they've faced, and how they're looking at things forward. I have with me somebody unique, somebody who worked for 3 years doing research and planning his product before he actually launched. I have with me today Sharad Gadsing, founder of Cradle of Life, an active senior citizens home brand. And they have been working on their first project in Talegaon, Pune, and it's been something exciting. Sharad, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much.
And would love to understand what got you started on something so niche as active living for senior citizens.
Okay, so to be honest, this idea is my father's brainchild. So he retired as a government officer, and then after retirement, he could realize the life he has imagined, after retirement, and the reality was a total mismatch. And then that time he got to visit a few senior living projects outside India, and he realized that in senior living, the quality of life of residents is much greater than staying in a regular housing facility.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, I was kind of reluctant to become a real estate developer. Second is this segment, like every other Indian, I had a perception that this is something like old age home.
Correct.
Right, where it's full of sadness, helpless people staying there. But then the moment I started studying about this segment, I realized that this is a product where the residents, they get to live life to the fullest, right? So one was my own experience, wherein my father saying that a regular housing is not suitable for me, and then it's an intergenerational problem, right? For me also, I want my parents to live that life that they have dreamed about, and that's where this entire thought process.
So Sharad, so what you're really saying is that this is a very interesting case. When we speak normally to people, we find out, most businesses are found when they find a gap,
right,
when they see from a customer perspective. But what you've just explained to me, that your father himself, and if I'm correct, please correct, that he's going to be the first resident of Cradle of Life, right?
Yeah.
So he's not only the founder,
right?
Yeah, he's also the first customer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that means a big responsibility on you, right? And in the 3 years that you spent doing research, understanding, visiting many other active senior living homes, and you mentioned a term now that this is not an old age home, right? And there are certain images or impressions people have when they think of old age. They think of people who are really old, probably can't walk, can't run, can't do any activities. So that's not what Cradle of Life is, right? What is Cradle of Life?
So, there are different perspectives to look at the senior. One is, few of them look at seniors as someone who is, really grown old, as in they are in need of some sort of help, assistance, right? So that's the perspective, a general Indian would have towards senior. But then while doing my research, what I understood was these are individuals very high on aspirations, right?
Okay.
That's the phase when they want to live life to the fullest. And so Cradle of Life, basically I won't call it a real estate play, but then we are building a platform wherein real estate acts like a infrastructure, and then the resident get to utilize all this infrastructure, maybe the real estate part of it, services part of it, and then they lead a very good quality of life.
So Sharad, if I understand this, and I've worked closely with you on this project that has been launched, you've given 33,000 plus square feet of this space as amenity space.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas many developers, and this is like in physical constructed space about 35,000, many people give about 3,000, 5,000, and of a total project size of about 250,000, both phase 1 and phase 2. Yeah, that means roughly about 20% or 15% of the space is being given to amenities.
Right.
Is that to deliver on your promise of quality life?
Yeah, because what I feel is life within the four walls of your house is not enough. The true essence in a senior living community is you should, utilize all these amenities, be a part of the larger community. So the campus life in a senior living facility is a very critical aspect, right? And then when I say that, there has to be something for everyone, right? So it has to be, more in terms of space as well as variety of the amenities.
So somebody likes sports, somebody likes
Yes,
hobbies, somebody likes art, craft.
Right.
Maybe at that age people want to learn music or dance.
Right.
All these facilities are available in Cradle of Life?
Yes, almost all of them.
Okay. So it's like what I remember, and I do recollect when we worked on this, we looked at the idea as Zindagi Reloaded.
Right.
Correct? Or like we call second innings with a smile. So what you're doing there, and that's why you said it's not really a real estate play, it's actually a service play.
Service play.
Yeah, and the service play is to build joy.
Right.
So I'm just going to switch to something. When you thought of this idea, and fortunately you had your support of your father in this, and he's also co-founder. Right. What have been the challenges, or have there been no challenges?
There had been challenges, like one starting with the perception of the segment, wherein, like me, every other Indian would treat this like a old age home, right? So building that awareness that this is very different from.
So old age home is seen as negative, huh?
Seniors negative. That's where a senior would typically go out of some limitations or constraints.
So children not looking after him, or it is seen
the
as
financial limitations. No family support. So that's when
they go to old age.
They feel helpless, and then they go to old age home. But active living is where an individual goes by choice.
Okay.
With a aspiration that he wants to lead a good quality of life.
So happy life, playing, socializing,
enjoying the life is the intention to move to active living facilities.
Okay. So the perception was the first challenge.
Perception was the first challenge. Then the second one was, since it's a real estate driven play, it's a very capital intensive thing. Right?
Okay.
So to an extent, investment was the initial challenge. Though we had our own land bank, but then construction demands a lot of cash flow requirement.
Correct.
Right. So initially we struggled with the cash flows, but then now fortunately the project is on self-sustenance mode, as in the revenues are helping us.
Good to hear.
Yeah. So that was the second challenge. Third one, was I would say building the trust in the consumers. Right?
Okay.
Because we were first time into real estate, that too in a segment which is very niche, which is very experience oriented.
You got senior people
with maturity, with lot of expectation, with lot of hope coming and settling with us, right? So as a new entrant, plus we had a very differentiated product as compared to other senior living facilities. It was a big challenge in terms of how do you pass on that passion, dedication, and the commitment, because you don't have past expertise. The only solution I found out was, if you don't have expertise, gain the expertise, right? So I had been doing a lot of research in terms of what's happening in the market, what are the gaps, what is customer looking at, right? And then the innovative approach is, was the first step to gain that confidence, right? Because then they never felt as if, this is a project by a first-time developer. That was clearly visible in terms of the entire thought process, the design part of it, right? So we are building on the trust aspect of it, because in senior living, trust is a very significant parameter when someone decides to come and buy. And it's not trust just in terms of real estate delivery, but then more importantly, post possession. How do you maintain those promises of the lifestyle that you have communicated.
So Sharad, if I get this right, what you're really saying is that you all deliberately, based on your father's own personal experience, chose a niche. Whereas you could have very comfortably done a regular real estate product, but you didn't. You chose a niche. Yeah. Next thing, what you're really saying is, although you chose the niche, that particular niche had a negative association of being an old age home, wherein people go out of compulsion, not out of choice. So that was the second thing, right, as a challenge.
Right.
The third challenge which you mentioned is that being real estate, the investment or the cost of product is significant. So that again has become an obstacle for people to come in. Fourth is the credibility issue.
Right.
One is being a first timer, that is a credibility issue that you've had. And the second point that you've also mentioned is along with the credibility for buying the item or the product, also post purchase, whether Cradle of Life, whether Sharad will actually deliver those amenities, those services that he has promised. Right?
On a consistent basis.
On a consistent basis. I mean, first you should provide it and then on a consistent basis. Okay, that's interesting. So, you've been now doing this for about 5 years, if I'm correct?
4 years.
4 years, yeah. So, is this something, now when you've done 4 years, yeah, is this something that you're enjoying? Do you see yourself doing many more Cradles of Life, or how are you seeing your future?
Enjoying, yes, truly enjoying. For 2-3 reasons. One is this is a very interesting space. You can do a lot in this space. Put in more creativity, innovation, right? Because that's where I get interested. That is one. Second, interesting aspect about what I'm in now is this goes beyond a business venture, right? You are touching lives of the resident. You are adding value to them, right? So there, I won't call it a social cause, but then there is a noble element attached to this concept, right? So these two things is what is keeping me interested.
So what I'm understanding is you see this as impacting lives.
Impacting lives.
There's a purpose.
Right.
And there's creativity, because I think the way you can make people really enjoy their life, the senior people, is something that you're liking.
Yes.
But does this mean that you will continue doing this?
Yes. So the long-term vision is to have many such facilities across different geographies. This, I would say, is more like a pilot project wherein and a field of experimentation for us as well, wherein we are experimenting different things, getting the feedback from customer if something is working, not working, right? So once we are through with this pilot project, that is the time we'll think of rapidly expanding this concept to different geographies.
But you're very clear that your experience has been positive and you are going to move the next steps.
Yes. So fortunately, whatever we have implemented has got a great traction in terms of the acceptance, revenue, sales, everything. So most of the business challenges we have already covered through the customer validation. There are few more which would be gaining after the facility is operational.
Once you actually realize that people can enjoy that same service at all.
But then, like we did during conceptualizing the real estate part, we have already started working on how do we deliver the services after possession. Right, before much advanced stage. So by the time we'll be operational, we'll have all the systems, processes in place, all the partnerships in place.
Excellent.
That's how
just to ask you one thing. Now this is real estate, right? You, like you said, even in real estate you're a new entrant. In that you've chosen a niche. But there's so many big real estate developers. What if they choose to get into this industry? Then how will you be able to compete with them?
See, one is, if you look at the current industry landscape, no one from the big real estate player, no one is there. As of date in the industry landscape. That clearly indicates that there are some entry barriers for these developers to come into this segment. One which is very clear is there is a lot of commitment even after post possession. The typical real estate play would end till possession, right? But then after that, that's one part. Second is this being a new concept, not much popular, selling this asset is a difficult task, requires a different type.
So how many times, what is the time typically from a person kind of calling you up the first time to the closure? How many meetings or how much?
So typically in terms of meetings or interaction, it would take 5 to 6 interactions.
Wow.
After a site visit, I'm saying.
After a site visit?
After the site visit. And then, it's not just the senior who are making the decision, the family members are also involved in, making this decision. So you have to deal with multiple people. It's not like, one individual coming and taking decision on his own. Right?
So it's not just the person who's going to live there. You're saying in the other family members could be children.
Yes.
And they are also coming and having
also influence the decision.
Sharad, you mentioned creativity in the conversation, yeah, and I have of course visited your site. You put a lot of emphasis in design, and you created very good looking or very interesting. I'm not maybe the good looking word is not as, but very relaxing, peaceful environment there, including the clubhouse design and the way you design things. Has this been deliberate, the whole design process?
Yes, because when you talk about the home design, uh, one, it has to be relevant to the audience, which is it has to be senior friendly, age friendly, not both by terms of the layout of the house to let's say the material specifications that you use, wherein you give that feeling of safe, secure, comfortable living environment. That was one. But then while working on that, what I realized was the product itself is a costlier real estate proposition, right? Because of the different specifications, the amenity heaviness, right? So in terms of bringing the cost in control, space efficiency was very critical, not just to reduce the initial investment burden, but then eventually the cost of living is always proportionate to the unit area that you hold.
Square feet, yeah.
Right. So one was very decided move that we want to have optimum living spaces without compromising the luxury aspect of it. But then it has to be parallelly efficient so that it becomes a cost-effective proposition.
Okay.
Right. So home design, even like we earlier discussed, the amenity part of it, because we always believed in the community living.
Yeah.
Right. That's where focus on.
So if I get you right, what you're saying is you looked at design, but design is not just in terms of aesthetics. Yes, the design is very interesting, very relaxing, gives a kind of a resort feel that is there. But you're saying design also is in terms of the efficiency, functionality,
utility
so
aspect of it.
the apartments have been designed keeping in mind what is really required.
Right.
So you've not gone higher or excessive in the square feet there, but you put in a lot of square feet in the amenity space where the senior citizens will actually spend time with their community.
Yes.
So that's
because
been
that's
your
where the life is in the campus and amenities.
Sharad, this podcast we do is seen by many aspiring founders, entrepreneurs, okay, who have some of them are on their journey, some of them are thinking, should I get on the journey for entrepreneurship? I know you've been a serial entrepreneur, you've done many things. What are 2 or 3 tips of advice based on your current experience plus your earlier experience to somebody who wants to launch a new business?
For launching a new business, you have to be innovative. That's for given.
Okay.
But then more than just the innovativeness or the uniqueness of the concept, validation becomes very critical. Right? It's not about what me as a founder I'm thinking to deliver, but then it has to be accepted in the market,
There has to be market.
or the customer. So my advice would be whatever you implement, get it validated. Different means. One is get a feedback from the prospect, right? Do surveys, put in a lot of effort in terms of researching, understanding the customer, right? So validation is what I think is a very critical aspect for a new business, and that gives you a great insight of how you want to shape up your product organization, right? Because you might get a very positive feedback wherein you somehow feel that you have underestimated the idea, right? So it gives you a boost in terms of flourishing the idea. Sometimes you might get a negative results out of the validation, but then that you should take it as a learning in terms of refining the concept, right? And all these insights will help you in growing the business, not right from, let's say, planning your resources, expansion strategies, go to market.
Okay.
So validation has to be a continuous process during the initial days of the business is what I've learned out of my experience.
So would you advise to somebody who's wanting to start a business, go ahead with it, or you feel the corporate career is a better option?
That's a tricky question, but then as long as it gives you a kick, right, wherein you want to be your own boss, not rather I would say working for yourself, working for a greater cause, I think you should get into business. Business is not as difficult if you do it in a very systematic planned way. So as long as you have identified the right problem, you have identified how do you tackle that problem, then monetary part of it will follow. You have to be consistent, dedicated to pursue that idea, is what I feel.
So I'm just going to conclude by asking you, while we at Seagull worked on the brand, we had a branding idea of Zindagi Reloaded. And I'm happy to see that actually what you're delivering and even the partnerships you've done are actually going to help the senior citizens have their Zindagi Reloaded. Yeah, right. So that's going to actually happen. And my point, I think what is important we recognize, was you want to build a long-term brand. And what is understood is that brand is not just communication, right? Yes. Branding is behavior, right? And behavior is brand, right? And that whole credibility that Cradle of Life will have is not with the sale of all the units, which, like you said, you're already on the sales part, you're very comfortable, sales are happening as it is. But now is when the real challenge is going to come, when you actually deliver on Zindagi Reloaded, right? And if that experience is excellent, that's how Cradle of Life will go to multiple more locations and be able to give quality of life to many more people.
I agree. Yeah? Totally agree.
Okay. So thank you so much, Sharad. And to all our viewers, it was nice to have spoken about an entrepreneur. Real estate is not an easy industry for anybody to get in. It's like Sharad mentioned, it is capital intensive, but it's also got a lot of competitors. In such a category, Sharad and his father, both co-founders, found a niche of active senior living. And on the basis of Sharad's father himself, who's retired, and Sharad's extensive research, both in India and globally, they've developed a very unique senior living home, a senior living concept, I'll say today, which has put in a lot of effort to ensure that residents have a joyful community life. Keep looking and keep watching for more episodes of Dreamers to Doers.